Being young and rebellious often means being young and dumb. You usually make dozens of stupid choices before that voice in your head finally screams, just say no. So, I don't know if that makes me one of the lucky ones. Still here, while my two best friends aren't. I'm trying to decide, but it's a decision I'm not getting anywhere with. Fuck. Let me start over. My name is Tommy. I'm sure you're wondering why I'm telling you this. Why you should care what some random 16-year-old kid has to say on the internet at 2 a.m. You've probably already left, scrolling for something more entertaining. But if you're still here, thank you. I just can't shut my eyes. Every time I do, I see it. That smile. Those dead fucking eyes. Are you sure this is it, Casey? I whispered, clutching my backpack straps. My eyes darted from the road behind us to the park's remains. Its broken structures looked like the bleached ribs of some ancient dead monster. I didn't want to do this. My dad would kill me if I got caught trespassing. Casey, though, practically bounced. Dude, obviously! This is prime urbex! Seriously, Tommy, you're going to back out now? After all that talk about adventures? He gestured at the slides, their silhouettes jagged against the distant town's dim glow. Besides, the homeless dude said, look for the section where the fence is pushed in. See? He pointed to a sagging section of chain link, an obvious entry point, the bent metal glinting ominously in the moonlight. It's fine, bro. Nobody gives a shit anymore. Justin, ever the chill one, clapped me on the shoulder. He's right, man. It's just an abandoned water park. What's the worst that could happen? We trip over a rogue flip-flop? He let out a giggle, his phone already out, flashlight beam cutting a path through the gloom. It revealed glimpses of faded, peeling murals of cartoon animals. Their eyes seemed to follow us. I swore the smile on one faded octopus mural stretched before setting back into its original shape as I looked directly at it. All right, I mumbled, shaking my head. Casey grinned, pulling at the bent wire, widening the gap. Come on, first one past the old concession stands gets bragging rights. We slipped through the fence, one by one, onto what used to be a busy pathway, now cracked and swallowed by weeds. The air hung heavy with the cloying scent of stale water and dying leaves. The once bright slides overhead now looked like the hollowed-out bones of something long dead. A coldness shot through me. This was nothing like the pictures. This was bizarre. The silence was absolute, broken only by our footsteps. Holy shit, Justin breathed, his phone flashlight slicing through the shadows. This is wild. Told you, Casey said, heading deeper into the park. He glanced back, a glint in his eye, stopping to hold the flashlight beneath his chin. The maw, anyone? The maw. The park's infamous final attraction. For months, our town whispered about it. Rumors flew, dark assumptions made about what had happened, why the park shut down. All anyone knew was that hell broke loose not long ago after Sterling bought the statue. Few people had ridden it, all with different experiences. And after a while, it became more urban legend than something real. Since Sterling was gone, no one had answers, so everyone just had fun with it. I'd always been timid with spooky stories, so the thought of investigating the legend didn't sound super enticing. Maybe let's just stick to the regular slides, for bragging rights. Justin just laughed, too loud in the oppressive silence around us. Nah, where's the fun in that? Everyone knows that the maw is the real reason to come here. He and Casey sped up, their silhouettes swallowed by the darkness. Being left behind in the lobby felt worse than whatever was waiting inside. So I took a breath and caught up with them. We moved like ghosts. The lazy river was a green, thickened trench, its fountains dry and crusted. Plastic flamingos protruded from the ground, their colors faded to a sick off-white. The wave pool was a debris magnet, littered with sticks, leaves, and dead insects. Everything felt wrong. Not just abandoned, but dormant. As if something was waiting, unfurling itself deep within its concrete veins, becoming aware of our presence. Then, I froze. My light fixed on something ahead. Fucking shit, dude. There it was. Looming in the distance, partially hidden in shadows, was a tall, twisting slide tube, cracked from top to bottom. Its bottom emptied into a circular pool, once filled with clear water, now an empty, gaping wound in the park's center. Even from where we stood, it was clear. It was an abyss. The sign above, bolted onto a steel pole, had triangular shapes carved out, resembling bite marks. A massive gray fin emerged from its top left corner. The letters, boxy and wide, peeked through dirt and dust, aged and faded shades of white and blue. The Maw. Dude, no fucking way, Justin whispered, his jokes gone. That slide's bigger than it looks in the pictures online. I know, Casey breathed, awe in his voice. You think it's still there, fellas? Only one way to find out. Justin's words felt hollow. Something was not right. But I couldn't back out now. They'd never let me forget it if I had come this far just to quit. All I could do was swallow my fear, trying to regain what little control I had. Okay, but let's not get too close. Something in that pool smells really fucking bad. We crept closer, taking in the decrepit surroundings. As we passed the old ticket booth, a discarded mirror lay face up on the concrete, its glass cloudy and cracked. I looked down at my reflection and froze. For a fraction of a second, my features elongated. My jaw warped into a curled grin that stretched far beyond my ears, my teeth becoming sharp and jagged. I blinked. My reflection was normal. I snapped my neck to see if either of them had seen it, but they were already trailing ahead, their words prideful while discussing how awesome our story was going to be. We walked a few more yards towards the pool's edge. As we got closer, I noticed something. Low on the slide's decaying side, near where it emptied riders into the pool, was a small, dark stain. It wasn't algae or rust. It looked almost dark, like dried blood. I frowned, my gaze lingering on it, unease tightening in my throat. Casey, though, was already focused on the pool's empty depth, his excitement overriding any sense of foreboding that only I felt. We reached the pool's edge, our flashlights dancing along the disgusting few inches of water that had stayed managed through stay along the bottom. The water was still, an oily, gray-black color, that seemed to absorb the light rather than reflect it. As our trio of lights trailed along the floor, we saw it, and we couldn't believe what we were seeing. Fuck. You guys, it's actually still here! Casey's eyes were wide with excitement as we studied this thing. Even in its broken state, it was intimidating. Its skin, once a cool blue-gray, was now faded and streaked with orange rust, like a forgotten tombstone. Real barnacles clung to its snout and dorsal fin, remnants from its aquatic origin of the lake. The water level was exactly where its jaw met the metal track beneath it, allowing us to see the rails. Its mouth was frozen in that creepy, disgusting smile. The eyes, black voids, seemed to stare directly at us. "Come on!" Casey squealed, starting to climb down using the ladder bolted to the pool's side. Justin was anything but enthusiastic about crawling into the sludge. "Casey, are you insane? Look at the water! Flesh-eating bacteria, you dumb fuck! How else are we supposed to have proof we did this then, shit breath? We each take a picture with it. God, why did you two even agree to this? Tommy has been spouting bitch fits since we got here, and now you're going to puss out too?" Justin and I locked eyes, neither of us wanting to step forward. But with shared hesitation, we nodded and slowly made our way to the ladder. As we got closer, the surface seemed to bulge inward near the center, like an eye slowly opening beneath the surface, before setting back into its oily flatness. I felt dizzy and could feel the acid burn in the back of my throat as I choked back the buffalo wings I had had for lunch. "What the fuck am I doing here?" I murmured to myself. Every instinct screamed at me to climb back up, but Justin was already halfway down the ladder, grumbling about tetanus, and KC was losing his shit at the bottom, aiming his phone at the maw for all the TikToks he was going to make. "Dude, this is so fucking cool!" Casey called out. I forced myself down the cold, slimy rungs, my gaze fixed on the maw. Up close, it was grotesque. I almost felt ashamed for being scared of an inanimate object, but I couldn't help the dread I felt, that only kept getting stronger the longer I was in its presence. Justin moved closer, his feet sloshing as he nearly lost his balance. "Jesus, it stinks! And it feels like snot!" He was right. The smell was overpowering now, so much so that it made my throat burn. Casey, oblivious as always, was already wrestling Justin into position. "Come on, Justin, put your head in its mouth." Justin grimaced, but leaned in, positioning his head between the shark's jaws, and held his breath from the smell. Casey snapped a photo, the flash briefly illuminating the hollow pool, turning the maw into a grinning shadow puppet against the cracked concrete. "Oh my god, if I edit this and add blood around your shoulder, Justin had finally had enough and cut him off as he walked back beside us, the maw just a few feet away, now invisible to us without our lights. "Casey, it fucking stinks in here, man. Let's finish this bullshit and go before we all die of Ebola or something." Casey rolled his eyes as he ignored Justin's outburst and gestured me to start moving. "Tommy, get your ass over here." My legs felt heavy, as if the water was trying to pull me down. I took a reluctant step towards the maw. Its eyes seemed to draw me in. I stood 2 feet, trying to look anywhere but its face, and slowly leaned in, forcing a strained smile. The flash popped, blinding me for a moment.
Fuck yeah!
Casey crowed, lowering his phone to review the shot.
Now we've got proof that we were actually...
His voice hitched. His smile faded. His brows furrowed as I watched his face change. The air heavier, and I knew for certain that my gut had been right all along. Something definitely wasn't right. Balls of steel Casey stood frozen, phone clutched, eyes locked on the screen. His body went rigid, his cocky smirk vanished, and it was replaced by horror. I glanced at Justin, who looked back at me, my own thoughts reflecting back to me through his eyes. "Casey?" he said. "What's wrong?" Casey didn't answer. He stood there still, rooted in the water, eyes wide, fixed on the photo. He breathed in shallow, rapid gasps. I couldn't see the screen, but the fear radiating off Casey was almost enough to make me run for the exit. Again, that sick smell intensified and stung in my nostrils. Then, Casey lifted his phone, turning the screen just enough for us to see. There I stood, next to the monster, but the photo had glitched. My face, my entire body was a hazy blur, distorted just enough to know it's me, but my features were impossible to define. However, the maw was terrifyingly clear, the corners of its mouth revealing something that definitely wasn't there before. A coat of what looked like dripping saliva, glistening between rows of its bone-white teeth, a huge contrast from the decayed rust color we just saw in front of us. Its skin was now a vibrant and healthy gray, textured and slick, reflecting the bottom of the slide above us. It wasn't until I looked at the eyes that I felt the world and my heart stop simultaneously. Its eyes were now bright and alive, slightly squinted into a devilish shape, no longer the lifeless deadpan stare straight ahead. They were now at a downward angle, hyper-focused on one thing. Its eyes were hungrily looking down at me. Justin began to laugh.
That's amazing, dude! Bravo!
Casey was still frozen, eyes wide, staring at the photo in bewilderment.
I didn't... How did you even Photoshop something that fast? Justin, I swear I didn't do any...
His voice was cut off by a vibration that seemed to emanate from the ground beneath us. It was low, but it created a silence where you could hear a pin drop. As we huddled, we slowly lifted our lights back over to the maw. It stood there, its expression emotionless, just as it had always been. The eyes were dull. There was no glistening saliva, no sharp teeth, nothing. It was the feeling in the atmosphere that was suddenly different. The smell of decay was now overwhelming, not just from the water, but something deeper, muskier, like wet, rotting meat. And the silence wasn't just the absence of sound anymore. It was accompanied by a presence. A silence that felt like something was listening, holding its breath. "Let's get the fuck out of here." Justin's voice was less sarcastic, as he too clearly felt the shift in energy. Casey, still clutching his phone, slowly, reluctantly, dragged his eyes away from the screen, his terror-stricken face finally breaking free from its stupor. Yeah, let's go." We shuffled backwards, our eyes glued to the maw, unwilling to turn our backs on it. Every movement felt sluggish, the water clinging to us, resisting our escape. The putrid, rotting meat smell was now thicker than ever, and it tasted metallic on my tongue. My lungs burned with each breath. As we reached the opposite side, hoping for another way out, I slammed my hand against the cold concrete wall. It was just a curved, slick surface, impossible to climb. There was no other ladder, no indentations, nothing to grab onto. We were trapped. Then I looked at the dark, oily water at the base of the maw, just beneath the surface, where the bottom of its huge, stretched jaw met the murky depths. A faint shimmer pulsed. It was subtle, barely there. A heartbeat-like rhythm that seemed to writhe with an invisible life. It pulsed, slow and deliberate. Justin, seeing the shimmer too, let out a choked whimper. He stumbled back from the ladder, splashing in the grime. It's doing something. Oh my god, guys, it's fucking breathing." Casey grabbed Justin's arms, pulling him. "Move. We'll try the other side of the pool." The air was now pressing us down, making it hard to breathe. I swept my flashlight beam frantically across the pool's rim, searching, pleading for an escape. But there was nothing. Just the walls, grime, and the darkness above. And as my light swept back towards the maw, its eyes narrowed, and the smile stretched. It was gone with a blink of my eye. But I know what I saw, and I knew what was happening. The maw was playing with us now, and it had just closed the last exit. Suddenly, the smell exploded. It punched into my throat, my nose, stealing the air. I doubled over, coughing, gagging on the taste. My eyes slammed shut, watering. At the same instant, a feeling of the most intense cold slammed into me. Bone-deep, paralyzing ice. My body spasmed, shivering violently, and my teeth chattered. The vibration escalated through the water, up my legs, into my skull. It was everywhere, disorientating me, blurring my thoughts. And then I dropped my phone, plunging myself into darkness. I stumbled, splashing water, my hands flailing in the void. The combined assault was too much, and I collapsed on my side in defeat. I lost all track of time, all sense of direction. I was a trembling mess, struggling to breathe. Then, as suddenly as it had came, the cold lifted. I stayed down on my side, still gasping and shaking. My eyes slowly fluttered open. I fumbled for my phone. The screen flickered to life, its weak glow doing little to pierce the dark. The maw loomed, yards away, partially hidden in the shadows, facing me. But the rest of the pool was empty. Justin and KC were gone. No sound, no struggle, no trace. They had vanished. It was just me. Me and the maw. My body felt numb and detached. The last thing I remembered was the cold, the darkness, the stench of death, and then nothing. I don't know how long I was out. I honestly thought I was already dead. I blinked. My eyelids were so fucking gritty that it burned. I was lying in the filth, feeling it soaking through my clothes, and my head throbbed. I tried to sit up, but my muscles screamed in protest. Every movement sent a jolt of pain through my body. Then I heard it. Somewhere behind me, I heard a splash. Like something heavy falling into the water behind me. And it started to move toward me with purpose. Then, something moved. A dark shape just at the edge of my blurry vision. It was too large and solid to be debris. It was moving towards me, faster now, the sounds growing louder. I began to panic. I tried to scream, but my voice was too weak. My body wouldn't move or respond. I was trapped, helpless, waiting for whatever was coming to get me.
Oh my god, kid! Hey, kid!
I thought I was hallucinating again. But I heard a man's voice grow closer, and I felt two hands on my back as his silhouette came into view above me.
Thank God. Don't worry, buddy. You're safe now, okay?
Huh? I could only whisper.
You and your friends are all over the news. I thought I was too late, but thank God you're alive.
He embraced me not as any stranger would. I could tell he knew. Somehow, he knew everything.
I'm going to get you out of here, but we have to go. Now. Where are the others?
I don't know,
We will find them, but we need to get out of the pool. Follow me.
He led me to a ladder that we all must have missed in the chaos. But I could have sworn it wasn't there before. The mysterious man pulled me up and helped me steady myself on my feet. Just as we were making our escape, we heard it, coming from behind where the man stood. The undeniable sound of teeth clicking together. I could now see the man's face in the streaks of light he was holding at his side. The horror in his eyes was one of familiar dread, as if he knew what was about to happen next. He had heard that sound before. Once again, the ground started to softly vibrate, and the same cold darkness from before began to rise around us. With a warning laced and desperate command, he spoke only one more word before the cold started to consume him. Run.